Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Justin here, and today I've got the review for you of the Huawei Honor 8. A smartphone that will be the flagship of Huawei's budget Honor line, and I think when it comes down to the design, the build quality, the camera, the display, and the battery life, it is a great total package that should be considered. I was actually lucky enough to be flown out to San Francisco for their US launch event on August 16th. This is where they came to unveil the new device, go through the new features, and also give some hands-on time and review units to the press. If you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JTechApple, you may have seen all of this and the fact that many other YouTubers were present in the audience as well. I had a lot of fun while I was there and would hope to go to some more events in the future and possibly even start vlogging them. The device was provided to me, however, this video is unsponsored in any way. I personally chose to make it and the opinions expressed will be of my own. But here is the Huawei Honor 8, and the first thing I noticed when I saw the device was just how beautiful it was. It is coated in glass on the front and back. It claims to have 15-layer craftsmanship and dual 2.5D thickness glass. In fact, I was with Max Lee from ZetoMax for a little bit, and he dropped his on the floor, and I was pretty sure it was going to be broken, but the phone was perfectly fine. The edges are also very nicely rounded, uniform with the surrounding metal of the phone, so in general it just feels and looks incredible, though it will be a huge fingerprint magnet. It is available in 3 different colors, including black, blue, and white, and personally I think the blue one looks the best. Since everyone seemed to have taken home the blue one, I thought I might change it up and grab the black one, but I am sort of regretting my choice now. When you take a look at the different angles of the phone though, I just can't get over how good it looks. But at the same time, the design scheme stays very simple as well. Something that I think a lot of people are going to like is the screen size. A lot of Android phones nowadays come in at around the 5.5 inch range and size, but this one comes in at a 5.2 inch display. So for people like me who may have smaller hands, the one-hand experience on this phone is totally doable. The display is a 1920 by 1080 Full HD resolution, and at 5.2 inches the density is perfectly fine, coming in at over 400 ppi. I definitely noticed that the display was vivid, sharp, and in general a very nice viewing experience. The colors were definitely on the saturated side, but the balance was nice, and it is definitely one of the standout features of the phone even though it is not a QHD resolution. The viewing angles were good, so all in all this is a great display you will find on this phone. The Honor 8 runs Android 6.0 with the Huawei Emotion UI 4.1. Previously, I wasn't the biggest fan of the EMUI, but I have grown to like it a little bit more the more I use it. As you know, I previously reviewed the Honor 5X and the Huawei P9, and those were 2 great smartphones, but the software seemed to be the one thing I wasn't a big fan of. This phone is run by the Kirin 950 processor, and this particular model has 4GB of RAM. With these specs, you're really not going to have any issues in terms of performance, and I didn't witness that at all through the week I've had it. Everything ran smoothly and they kept things clear and simple. I'm personally not the biggest fan of the icons, but that's just my opinion, and one of the cool features of this phone is that the fingerprint sensor is also a smart key button. What this does is allow you to program the key to certain quick access functions, sort of like what we saw in the boom key of the Alcatel Idol 4S I reviewed last week. The fingerprint sensor was very responsive in my experience, and that was one of the biggest weaknesses in the Idol 4S, which comes in at the same price point. When it comes to the camera app, I actually prefer it on the Honor 8. It does take some getting used to at first, but they've kind of hidden the things on the side that you won't be accessing as often, but they are still there very easily if you need it. All in all, when it comes to the software experience, I'm starting to like the EMUI a little bit more through each Huawei phone I have used, but it's still personal preference and it's not my favorite. The camera is one of the things that Huawei has been doing a great job of as of late. I recently reviewed the P9 and that had a camera that they work with Leica. They brought over the dual camera setup to the Honor 8 with dual 12 megapixel sensors, with one being color and the other being monochrome. There's a number of modes that work with the camera, but one of the new ones that takes advantage of the dual camera is the wide aperture mode that lets you set your aperture all the way down to 0.95 to get that background blur. As you can see here, the camera produced some really solid results. In some cases it may have been a little bit underexposed, but the sharpness is definitely there and the color balance was particularly good. It also seemed to expose things very nicely more often than not. A huge thanks to Anton from Antonolog for providing some of these photos. The aperture mode also works nicely when used properly. Here's just a photo taken at f/0.95. The front-facing camera is 8 megapixels and also has a beauty mode, which a lot of people were having fun playing around with. You can see here that the results are pretty nice, though the image could definitely be sharper. The color balance once again though was spot on. The Honor 8 records video at a full HD resolution, and I was pretty happy with the results here as well. Some of the other Android smartphones I tested around this range had terrible video, but you can see here the handheld stabilization here isn't bad at all, and once again the exposure didn't have any problems. When it comes to the battery life, this was one of the strengths for the smartphone. It is a 5.2-inch display, which is considered on the smaller side and of a 1920 by 1080 resolution. I was easily able to breeze through one day with the smartphone and get pretty far into the second day as well. And the internal 3000 mAh battery is really respectable for a phone of this size, and it makes me wonder why Apple only has a 1600 mAh battery, or the fact that the Note 7 has only a 3500 mAh battery, being significantly larger in size. This device has a USB Type-C port, and it will take 100 minutes to charge it from 0 to 100. Just to wrap things up, I am very happy with this smartphone. It has a 5.2-inch display which appeals to people with smaller hands, an incredible battery life, a really solid camera, great specs, but most of all, a very appealing and beautiful design. At the $400 range though, there is definitely a lot of other options to consider, whether it is the Idol 4S, which comes with a VR, an Axon 7, which I haven't had a chance to check out yet, and also the OnePlus 3, which, long story short, I wasn't able to get my hands on one. Though the Honor 8 is definitely comparable to a lot of these smartphones, I think at the price point of $399, it will make it a very tough choice for some, and if they had just made the price maybe $299 or $349, it would be far more appealing. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.